So our June box has just arrived, and we've got some of the wonderful Wongbok, which is like the Chinese cabbage, which is going to be awesome. I'm going to plant everything into the new veggie pod this week, which is pretty cool. We've got strawberries, which are going to come out in spring. This is an early variety. And we've got mint, and we're going to plant that in a pot because otherwise it just takes off through your whole garden. And we've got azaleas for our flower, and I'm going to make a little bunch of flowers. I've started it down here, but I'm going to make a little bunch of flower pots down here. And we've got lettuces, our monthly lettuces to keep our salads going, and we've got kohlrabi. Now, I've never grown kohlrabi before, but they are little from the cabbage family, and they have a little bulb at the bottom, which is really nice in salads and things. You just grate it up, it's super nice. So we've got this whole space to plant in. It's 1 meter by 2 meters. So I'm going to not use my whole space in this because in the next month we'll get another lot of them going. So what I want to be able to do, these ones are going to grow, these are the Chinese cabbage, and they're going to grow up to about this high, and they don't mind being quite close together. And the nice thing about putting them quite close together is that if you are trying to keep the pests out, the one thing that attracts to these guys is slugs and snails. So you'll be able to put your bear traps or your yeast traps really close to these if you keep them in one spot together. So I'm going to put those in together like this. There we go. And we've got our strawberries. Now strawberries, I'm lucky that I've got a cover here. If you're not planting in one of these, you'll need to look at covering your strawberries once they get ready, once they get closer to getting some fruit, because they'll get eaten by birds. So I'm just going to put these, they'll get quite nice and big. These are a lovely big variety. That's my dog, sorry. And they're a really early variety too, so they're going to come out in spring, which is going to be super nice. It's not, there's nothing like being able to come out, do your gardening and graze on a few strawberries. So, and then we have our lettuces. Now these ones are really little, but your ones when they come in a week's time or 2 weeks time will be a little bit bigger than this, hopefully. So I'm going to put these in. Now the lovely thing about these lettuce is that they are only going to be in the ground for a month, so it doesn't really matter where you put them because we'll be able to rotate them out and plant something else really quickly after them. And they won't even, they'll be out before these ones get too big or before this one gets too big, so you can fit them in wherever you can. And then we've got now there's my mint. I'm going to plant mint in a pot because mint roots travel everywhere, and once you get them into the garden they'll pop up everywhere and they just compete with everything in your garden. So keep them in a pot and keep them contained, and if I was you I'd put them close to your kitchen because you can use it all the time if you are doing that. Now this is our flower. Shut up. This is our flower, and this is an azalea, so I'm going to plant these. I've decided to make I've got some flowers coming out already, which is exciting, from one of my pots earlier. I can't remember what that is actually, but I'm going to keep putting my flowers into these pots along the bottom of my veggie pod so that they create like this whole flower garden underneath here, because I find this like side of it's a little bit ugly, so I want to grow some lovely flowers and things along there. Now the last thing we've got is kohlrabi, and I've never grown kohlrabi. Yours are going to be a little bit bigger because it's going to be a couple of weeks till you get them, but these are they are from the cabbage and cauliflower family, and they grow like a bulb underneath. And they're kind of supposed to be slightly in the turnip family, but they don't taste like turnips. They're a lot nicer and fresher. And you grate them and put them in your salads, and they're super lovely, fresh, grated. So you've got to catch them after a couple of months, because after that they go really tough. So so these don't take up too much room either. But I'm just going to. I'll put them at the back because they get a little bit tall actually. They'll get up to about here, so I'm just going to put them across the back. One, and we've got two different colours. We've got a red one and a white one. It'll look pretty white. The flesh of these look fairly white, but it'll have a kind of a purpley streaks to it, the purple one. So we'll put them along there. Now I've got lovely fresh soil in here, so these are going to go really well, even though it's a tricky time of year. And of course these can all go straight into your worm farm, so they can just compost right down along with your box. Where's our box? So we can put all of this into our worm farm. Nice one. And so remember, with this box you can pretty much compost the whole thing, which is exactly what we want to do and reduce the amount of plastic in gardening. So we've got one little strip we can take off, which is the plastic, and the rest of it, oh look, here's my last one, straight into the worm farm. Rip it all up, and this creates a carbon layer for your veggies and for your a carbon layer for your worm farm. Oh, I know.
Look at all these worms. That's crazy.
Let's let them back in.
Oh my goodness. I need one of these.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, and what this does is this is a little engine. Have a look down here, and this will create all this beautiful nutrients for your garden. And in here, have a look in here, there's I've just used a lot of this, but look how it's just moving with the kind of nutrients, the micro biology that can go straight into your garden and help activate everything. It's fantastic. So you want to keep them, especially at this time of year, you want to keep some dry leaves or some of your box going into the worm farm, so that you've got a constant carbon layer, so it doesn't get too soggy, and it'll help keep it warm in there as well. There we go.
Amazing.
Now, I hadn't finished up that video last week, and so I hadn't told you the next part, which was to water them all in, which I did at the time, but I'm going to do it again now. And look how much growth we've had in 1 week. These are all taking off in this garden, mainly because it's just really beautiful fresh soil, and we've had really great growing conditions. We've had lots of sunshine and no frost. So everything's looking super healthy. So you water things in so that you don't get any sort of air pockets, and just so that the roots just settle into the soil. And even if your soil is a little bit moist, you still want to give them a good water once you put them in. And then what we might do next is just to put some mulch on. So if your plants are really little, sometimes it is quite good to give yourself a week or two before you mulch them, just so that they don't kind of get lost in the mulch if the seedlings are pretty small. But these are a really good size now, so just going to mulch all around these plants so that they get a nice protection. They keep it keeps a bit of warmth in the winter, which is really great, and adds a carbon layer to your soil and lets the microbiology that thrives in your soil, lets it thrive under there. So there we go, all done. Well, happy gardening everyone, have a great week. So just remember that if you're not getting good results from your garden at this time of year, it's probably because you're not getting enough sunlight. So if you've got a slightly shady garden, then find a few pots and put things up in a place where they can get a lot of sun, and you'll have way more success. Happy gardening everyone, see ya.